Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Thursday edition of Today in Sports Betting. Taking a look, as we always do, at of course, we haven't the last couple Thursdays, but congratulations, Scott. We have NFL football back on Thursday. Excited?
Yeah, I know this matchup definitely means something to one of these two teams, or at least it did maybe a week or two ago. I'm not really sure if the Raiders are still that involved in the playoff picture. They can tell themselves whatever they want to believe. I think we both know it's pretty much between the Dolphins and Ravens for the final spot, right?
It certainly looks that way. Without doing the deep dive into everybody's schedule.
And I'm already penciling the Colts in, so that's why I'm not including them.
Well, fair enough. The Raiders are definitely on the outside looking in right now. They're sitting with a record of 7-6. They're 2 games back of the Colts, 1 game back of Baltimore, and 2 games back of Cleveland. So it's going to take a lot of help for the Raiders to take care of business here and make it to the playoffs. Starts with this game tonight. Scott, how much credence do you give to the motivation factor? I mean, we talked a little bit earlier on a couple of our different shows about the myth of the must-win game. Do you describe it here too in this situation?
Personally, I think the must-win situation plays no impact whatsoever in this specific spot because you can make the argument the Chargers aren't playing for anything. They could be playing for their coach's job if they actually like Anthony Lynn. I don't know why you would like Anthony Lynn because he's a terrible football coach, but if he's a good locker room guy and the players like him and they know, kind of like what happened with Atlanta last year at the end when they saved Dan Quinn's job for a couple of weeks because they ended up winning a couple games down the stretch that were meaningless, quote unquote. And the Chargers could be motivated for this game. Plus, if in a division rivalry game, if you have a chance to play spoiler, your season might be over, but if you sabotage a fellow division rival season, that has a little nice feeling to it, don't you think?
Absolutely. And there's a lot of animosity in the AFC West. These are teams that have been in this division forever. It's not like some of the jiggered divisions in the NFC where, the Cardinals used to play in the East and the Saints have been moved around. It's Tampa Bay, of course, used to play in the AFC back in the day. These 2 teams, and of course the 4 teams, Kansas City, Denver, the Raiders, and the Chargers, have all been in this division forever. There's been a lot of bad blood. And I think division games, for some reason, they always seem to mean a lot. I mean, they always seem to be close. I know the teams know each other, so there's not as many surprises. So it'll be it should be a fun game, Scott. It'll be an interesting game. I think it's going to be a situation where we're going to see some offense. What do you think?
I can't really say no to that. I know that there's been some injuries on both sides. The Chargers have some receiver injuries, and the Raiders, of course, already announced several players out, including Jonathan Abram, some other guys in their secondary. So they should be down a decent amount. Plus, they're down a defensive coordinator because they fired him. I don't know if he made the team plane back or if he had to find a taxi, but they might have let's just say I don't think he exactly got a proper send-off after such a terrible performance last week against the Colts.
Gives new meaning to the phrase taxi squad, doesn't it?
I think it does. I think that at the end of the day, you can make the argument that, they were that awful the last couple of weeks, he deserved to get fired. And my counter argument is maybe if Mike Mayock actually drafted some good defensive players, they wouldn't be this bad.
Yeah, well, and of course, if they're not going to be missing more than a third of their defensive starters, that would be helpful as well. Raiders are going to be down Cleveland Farrell, which is,
he's the best pass rusher, whatever that means.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's like being the man with one shoe in the barefoot kingdom. This is a terrible Raiders pass rush, and he's about all they got.
Max Crosby was good for maybe like 3 weeks this year, and he hasn't done anything since.
Yeah, he showed up, and you're like, oh, I remember that guy. And then, you forgot who he was. But perhaps even more importantly, they're going to be missing Damon Arnett and Jonathan Abram back there in the defensive backfield.
I think Abram's terrible. And I'm not afraid to admit that. He's a physical safety who can't cover anybody in an era where you need to cover people. The only safety you can get away with is Jamal Adams because he can get after the quarterback and they use him in a unique package. Abram came out as this vocal guy. I remember him on Hard Knocks. He was vocal, talked a lot of crap to people. And it's like, all right, this guy's got a bit of swagger to him. And then you realize he literally can't cover anybody. And it's just a free reception if you're being guarded by him. So he's just bad. I think that Arnett's actually been a pretty good corner this year. I thought the Raiders took him too early. He's had some injury issues. I think he's actually been okay.
Yeah, Abram fits in well because there's a lot of guys on this Vegas squad that can't really cover anybody. They've had some struggles. Scott, they give up 30.1 points per game, but there's a couple of games that are kind of outliers there. We talked about that game in Cleveland where they basically played it in a it
was a monsoon with
tropical storm, if you will.
Yeah, and they gave up 6 points in that one.
Yeah, they gave up 6 points in that one, and they also gave up 12 points to Denver when Drew Lock was at his very worst, throwing four interceptions. So you take those two games off the board, they're giving up over 33 points a game, and
their defense is terrible. There's really no other way to put it. Now, the issue you have with the Chargers is that their offense is kind of falling off a cliff. They scored 17 against Buffalo, 0 against New England, and then 20 against Atlanta. And my counter-argument there would be Buffalo's defense definitely played better over the last couple of weeks. New England's defense, I'd say it's decent at times. Sometimes it's not, but it's looked pretty good the last couple of weeks. And Atlanta's defense has definitely, hit a different gear ever since Morris took over. So
Atlanta's a lot like the Chiefs were last year, Scott. From about week 9, week 10 on, that's been a pretty good defense.
Yeah.
And so putting up 17 against Atlanta or 20 against Atlanta, there's no shame in that.
So now you face off against the Raiders defense, which has had a bunch of injuries. They fired their coordinator because whatever they're doing isn't working, and they faced the first time, and the Chargers scored 26 points.
So let me ask you this: how long does Gruden get a free pass if he doesn't make the playoffs? How many non-playoff years can Gruden have?
Well, he's got a contract for another 9. So
that doesn't matter. You know that.
I actually think he's got a decent leash. If I'm being honest, I think Mayock's on a shorter leash than Gruden is.
You think one goes without the other?
I think it's definitely possible because I think Mayock has actually been a disaster. And I know that people might look at the Raiders and say, well, Josh Jacobs, good player. And it's like, yeah, you picked an injury-prone running back, and what'd they get in the first round?
Yeah, he's a first-round pick.
Yes, you got a first-round running back who's talented but always injured. You look at the defense, you got Arnett, who was supposed to be a third-round pick. You took him in the first round while you still had some other guys on the board. You took Ferrell with the 4th pick, 5th pick? Yeah. He was supposed to go late first round. That's been a disaster. They really – even Colton Miller, their offensive lineman, was awful for about a year or so before he started to look mediocre. I think Mayock's been terrible. And I feel like not enough people realize that Mayock's draft picks have been disastrous. Am I wrong for feeling that way? Because Abrams also been a disaster.
Yeah, no, there's no question. Mayock is certainly a much better commentator on the NFL Network.
And they took Henry Ruggs, who I think is not very good. And Ruggs has been one of the worst receivers and one of the deepest receiving classes we've ever had. You had Jefferson available. Judy's also been pretty quiet, so that's fair. But CeeDee Lamb was available. Even T. Higgins had a better year than Ruggs. Ruggs hasn't done anything. He had one touchdown catch against the Jets.
You know what? The other thing is Ruggs has been hurt a lot too.
Yeah. The point is they drafted another Darius Hayward-Bay after the first time when they learned absolutely nothing. They took the fast guy who's not really a good route runner and just said, oh, you're fast. We're going to take you. And, yeah, let's just say that of all the receivers available, they took one of the worst ones.
That's so cute that you're young enough to think that's just that Darius Hayward-Bay was the first time they've done that.
Oh, no. I'm just talking about just recent memory for some of the younger audience members at home. Nothing to do with me.
Okay. Yeah, that's
a Raiders tradition.
Yes, it is. Drafting a terrible fast receiver in the first round.
You also think that low on Ruggs, or am I alone here? Because every time I watch him play, he just runs go routes, and he does absolutely nothing else.
I'm going to give him a pass for this year because of the injuries.
I'm saying in comparison to the other receivers, I think they might have made the wrong choice. Because the Raiders had what? The Raiders had first dibs on everybody, didn't they? I think they were before Denver. I think they first
receivers go. Yeah, I think was he the first receiver to go off the board? I think he was.
Judy slid, and I remember Lamb also. They all slid besides Ruggs. I think Ruggs was the first receiver taken.
So who would you rather have at this point?
I mean, Jefferson's an easy call, but that's a separate story. Hell,
Well,
I'd rather.
they weren't going to take they weren't going to take Jefferson.
No, I'm saying I probably would have gone to Lamb.
Okay.
Ruggs hasn't been great either, but I think Ruggs had a better. I mean, not Ruggs. Sorry, Judy's hasn't had a great year either. He's been better than Ruggs. I think Higgins had a better year than Ruggs. Ruggs has been really bad. He's just not healthy. I'd rather have Michael Pittman Jr. than Henry Ruggs.
Well, and you can make the case that other than Joe Burrow, that the other receivers really didn't have much of a quarterback to throw him the ball.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I think the Raiders probably were in the best position there. Are you a Carr fan or not?
I think Carr's good, not great. So if I was putting it into a top 30 quarterback power ranking thing,
yeah, so top 10?
He'd be hovering around 500.
Around 15, 16, somewhere in there?
He'd be in the mix between top tier and bottom tier. He's just one of those guys who I wouldn't want to be the starting quarterback on my team. But if he is, he'll probably win you 8 games.
And would you rather have him than the Chargers quarterback? Would you rather have him than Herbert?
Are you talking about only this year or moving forward?
Well, not if you take away the extra years that they're going to have to be able to play. I'm talking about just a skill set, right?
That's what I'm saying. You pick Herbert 10 times out of 10.
Okay.
Because you assume Herbert, if you toss away Anthony Lynn with some of the questionable clock management situations going on late in halves and whatever, that Herbert's ceiling is almost immeasurable at this point. I'm assuming you'd agree with that. His ceiling is so much higher than Carr's, it's not even close.
I think that's accurate. Yeah, I do. I think that Carr's pretty much. I don't know if he's at his ceiling. You keep talking about the Carr's. He's made this improvement and that improvement. This year she's going to be better, and they're both.
He's fine. It's just
they both have remarkably similar statistics for this year.
Yeah, I think he's fine. It's just a matter of you look at him and you say you get an offensive-minded coach, a pretty solid offensive line, which the Raiders have. They have a really good offensive line.
Yeah. And
some decent receivers. And Carr still puts up some big numbers against bad teams, struggles against good teams, for the most part, with the exception of the Chiefs game, Chiefs games. And, you win about 8 games. That's kind of what Carr is.
All right, so what do you got here for this one?
So for this one, I know that the Raiders are in a quote-unquote must-win game and everything like that. I also know that the Chargers have just a really, really dumb head coach. I'm going to lean to the Chargers plus the points. I know that it's a little bit of a controversial opinion because a lot of people want to take the Raiders. The Raiders have shown me nothing over the last 3 weeks. I know they beat the Jets. Congratulations. You needed basically a Hail Mary against a cover 0 to beat the Jets. I'm really proud of you. But the Chargers were awful the last couple of weeks. I actually was impressed by their Falcons win. They should have lost before Matt Ryan threw that interception in field goal range in the last, minute of the game. But the Chargers won a game. I do think that will provide a bit of a spark. Am I going to bet this game on a side perspective? No, because I don't trust either of these teams. I just think that Gruden's Raiders are getting a little bit too much respect when their defense can't stop anybody.
Fair enough. I'm going to go the other way. I think
this game's a coin flip, so I'll take the 3.
Yeah, that's we talk about that a lot. Where if you think a game is even and one side's getting points, that's probably the way to go.
You think the Raiders deserve to be 3 points better than the Chargers with no home field advantage?
Yeah, I think that's about right. I think that I think the Raiders should be 3 to 5 point favorites. I just don't like this Chargers team. I don't like what they do. I don't like how they scheme. No, and obviously, I don't love the Raiders. They've played 2 good games this year, basically, both of them against the Chiefs. But I think this is a time where they get it done. I think they're going to be focused. I think Gruden's going to have them ready. I don't know that everybody's abandoned Anthony Lynn yet. I would have said that for sure before last week's game. I'm not sure Atlanta just didn't have a down game where they struggled with the Chargers.
Could be. I'm just throwing it out there that I kind of thought they would throw in the towel moving forward, and they definitely did not.
Agreed. It would be much easier if they'd have lost, 35-14 last week to Atlanta, and you could say they've definitely thrown in the towel. I think these guys have pride. They're still professionals. They're going to fight. Mm. I just don't know at the end of the game where it comes down to absolute crunch time. I think the Raiders are going to be able to take care of business. So
that's definitely fair. I just think the main issue that I have is that I think both offenses are pretty even, in my opinion. Would you say that's fair? Both offenses being even? Kind of?
Yeah. That's the other thing we wanted to talk about real quick is I think these offenses are even if they're at full strength.
That's fair.
There's a couple guys that could be troubling that are on the Chargers injury report.
Assuming that Keenan and Eckler play, we'll assume Mike Williams is not.
I think that's probably that's how if I was going to bet each one of those individually, that's how I'd bet it, just based on the latest information that we have. It looks like Williams is going to be a true game time decision, while Eckler and Keenan Allen are just kind of nursing season-long injuries, and
they're just going to skip practice and playing games.
I think that's the case. I really think that's the case. I think those guys are going to go. Obviously, if you're waiting up till game time and you find out that two of those three are not going, should probably affect how you're playing this game.
Yeah, but the only thing that I'm going to mention is that I think we'll agree that at even strength, or whatever you want to call it, I think both these offenses are relatively even. Is that fair?
Yeah.
So based on that, the reason why I'm asking is because if you take that into the equation, the Chargers' defense is light years better than the Raiders. With Bosa back, with Ingram.
Well, Ingram's out for the year.
Oh, sorry about Ingram. Yes, no, with Bosa back, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
With Bosa back and the fact that you have a secondary with pretty decent secondary, I just think their defense is a lot better than the Raiders. So the argument you could have there is that the offenses are even and the Chargers are better defense. Should they really be getting 3? And I don't really know. Yeah, sorry, I forgot that Ingram was out for the year. But still, Bosa's back. Bosa, of course, is the best defensive lineman in the entire game. It's not even close. In this game.
This game?
In this game.
Okay.
In this game. Not the entire league.
I thought you meant the game of football.
In this game, he's the best.
That role a little bit.
In this game, he's the best defensive
He's not even the best lineman in his family. So.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I'm saying in this specific game, he's the best defensive lineman there. The Chargers' secondary is better. I think their linebacking core is better. Pretty much from top to bottom, I think the Chargers' defense is better. So for that reason, I think that the Chargers, assuming that Anthony Lynn and company doesn't butcher the clock management and do any draw plays on like 3rd and 8, I think they'll have a lot easier scoring chances than the Raiders because the fact that this defense they're against is SEC quality.
Well, that's quite a jump to make there for Anthony Lynn, for a coach that has snatched defeat from the jaws of victory all season long, and in fact turned it into an art form. As far as
it's really impressive how they just invent new ways to lose games. Isn't that impressive?
Yes, I mean they lose games. You're like, I don't even know how that's possible, and yeah, there it is. So I'm going to take. I still think that the better team under better circumstances that's playing for more. I'm going to take the Raiders right here in a small play.
Okay.
I do have a premium play on the total, but as far as the side goes, I've got to stick with the better team and the better coach.
I feel better just leaning to the over in this spot. If I was going to go one way, I know my play of the day kind of involves that for this matchup. But if I'm looking at a side or a total, I feel more confident with the total in this one because I don't exactly see many stops happening between these two teams.
All right, fair enough. There you have it. That's going to be the show for the NFL. I'm excited to have NFL football back on Thursday, Scott. I've kind of missed it. I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, now we also got Saturday because why would you want to watch college football championship weekend when you could watch Packers-Panthers?
You know what? There's some good games tomorrow night. I'm kind of torn about that, Scott. I really am. Because there's going to be some good Friday night games, which we don't usually have, but it definitely takes away from the cachet of the Saturday games and the championship Saturdays. So
I'm not watching the NFL on Saturday. Like, I really want to see Rodgers torch Carolina for 4 touchdowns and 330 yards. I mean,
the only thing I like about Saturday football is I like it when they have it in a cold weather spot and you have like the blizzard.
Yeah, because it's winterish.
I love that Saturday night. For some reason, it's just that Saturday night blizzard thing. I love that. I guess it started back with the Tuck Rule game back in New England. That was a Saturday night game, and then just ever since then I've just.
Well, that was a playoff game, but yes.
What's that?
That was a playoff game, but yeah.
Yeah, but it was a Saturday. It was a Saturday.
Yeah, I'm just saying with the new regular season Saturday stuff. I feel like the execution could be a little bit better, but I think it's fine. I also don't really know what the purpose is. It's like the NFL already controls 3 days every week out of the calendars. They're just like, yo, no, we need a 4th day.
Well, they want that 4th one as soon as college is done.
But the point is college isn't over yet, so there's no point.
They didn't know that when they made out the schedule a year ago.
I'm just saying because worst case is that you have teams with one less day of rest, which could lead to more injuries and just some poor football. And the whole idea was that you were going to monopolize the football coverage for a day, and now you're not even doing that. So I just don't really see how that worked out in the end, but, hopefully the games are close.
How old are you? Like, get off my lawn.
It's not a matter of getting off your lawn. It's just a matter of you. The idea is, would you rather watch what's the other game? Bills-Broncos?
I don't even know.
I think it's Bills-Broncos. I think the two games are Bills-Broncos and Packers-Panthers.
Yeehaw.
That's the point. I'm trying to say, you're trying to compete with some conference title games and you're throwing out two games where you have a prohibitive favorite, I'm just not interested.
Gives us an extra show to do.
It definitely does, which works out well for me. But just a matter of looking at those two matchups, nothing jumps off the page and says, I have to watch this instead of college football.
No, I don't even know what college football is competing with them. I'd have to look at the schedule to see what's going up against them on Saturday night. But
well, you got the you're gonna have the Big 12 title game.
Okay, well, I'm not tempted yet.
Well, I mean, that's a matchup between two top 10 teams, so that could have playoff implications. You have the SEC title game between Florida and Bama.
Yeah, no, that's something that has my interest.
I mean, that game's at 8:00, so that's going to be
watching Oklahoma go against Iowa State.
I mean, you have Tulsa, Cincinnati, if you care. Or early afternoon, you have Coastal against Lafayette.
That's a rematch.
Correct, but, the first matchup was pretty good.
Yeah, true. Probably still better than any of the NFL games.
Yeah, you got some games here, which I'm not saying that everybody's going to say, well, I got to watch the Tulsa-Cincinnati game instead of whatever, but I think Bama-Florida is probably going to be worth it for a half. Then Bama will be up 35, and you can switch it back to the NFL. But I don't know. I think more people at this stage will be more interested in the college games because the pro games have no, I'd say, unique attributes. The Packers are going to win the division. The Bills are going to win the division. And both the other teams aren't going to make the playoffs. So who really cares?
I'd be really curious to see how that goes, Scott, because, the NFL rules the day.
They always do. But I'm really curious how the ratings are going to be now that you have two underwhelming matchups facing off against prime college football matchup.
Yeah, because that's something that both of those entities strive to avoid at all costs, which is direct competition.
Yep.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I have a hunch.
I think the NFL will do just fine.
The NFL is going to rule the day, and it's kind of sad, but yeah, I think that's going to be the case.
Yep.
So, but of course, we'll be back tomorrow to talk about all that fun. But for today, you and I disagree. You've got the we don't real full-throated plays here on the side. You've got the Chargers in a small lean. I've got the Raiders in a small lean. As far
but I like the over in the spot.
All right, good enough. All right, well that's going to cover it for this one. And of course, if you're looking for even more information, there is the one spot to go, and that is winnersandwhiners.com for deep dives, not just into this game, but every game going on in America every single day. You want previews, you want predictions on those college football matchups over the weekend. Winnersandwhiners.com is the place to go. Of course, we appreciate all you guys watching today. Don't forget to like our video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Closing on 10 grand, Scott.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it.
10,000 subscribers should be there maybe this weekend. We'll see what happens. I wish we had a way of knowing the exact person that put us over 10 grand. We do like a prize package thing, but we just get them in bulk in the numbers every day. So sorry about that, because it'd be a hell of a lot of fun, and but anyway. So with that being said, appreciate you guys watching. Thanks very much. Couldn't do it without you. And hope you guys have a great night. We hope every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money back at the window. For myself, for Scott Reichel, for all of us over here at winnersandwhiners.com, thanks very much for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow on Today in Sports Betting. Take care, everybody. Clear.